Hi, Prasad. Good morning.
Good. Hi. Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to. How about you? Is it
Yeah,
audible
I'm
to
good.
you?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Great, Prasad. And nice to meet you by person, actually. I know, like we were discussing in the mails, right?
Yeah, we were discussing in the mails and chat.
Okay, great to see you here.
Mm,
Hi,
Good to
Srikant.
see you.
Hi, Rajesh.
Hi, Srikant. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Srikanth.
Morning, Prasad.
Morning.
This is first time I'm seeing Srikant. Actually, I saw your DP when I messaged you.
Thanks. Yeah.
So we are meeting first time face to face.
Good that actually you have taken up initiative in
Yeah, that's
rugby.
really, yeah, right.
Yeah, thanks,
That's really
Prashant.
nice,
Thanks,
Rajesh.
Yeah, it's
we
always good
used
to
to.
connect.
Yeah. We used to run actually for data analytics, myself and Raj Garu,
Yeah.
for data analytics activity. But yeah, good.
I think I learned it from Shiva. Srikanth and Prasad used to run these data analytics sessions in the past. I think like before COVID.
Yes,
And even
yes,
Rajagaru said the same thing. Yeah, he said like
yes,
we used to do this.
yeah.
Okay, speaker is going to join. He just messaged me. So
Yeah.
please allow some time. So any feedback on yesterday's session? I think like Srikanth, you joined, right?
No, I didn't join. Today is the first session.
Oh, yesterday it's another Srikanth then.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I couldn't join actually because I was traveling.
Oh, okay.
So where do you stay, Rajesh?
In the Academy Drive, 75.
Oh, you are in Academy Drive also. So just
Academy Drive, oh nice.
So we
Yeah.
can catch up actually. We all can plan and catch up. I think now Rajugar is in India, right? Or he's back.
Yeah, he'll be in India for next 2-3 months, I think.
Yeah, once I mean, like, of course we can meet before to that as well, and we'll see. Hi Rajesh, hi Sudhamani.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know, someone from iPhone. Good morning.
Hello. Hi, this is Lata here.
Yeah, hi Lata garu. Good morning.
Hi, this is Sudhamani.
Hi Sudhamani garu. Good morning. Speaker is about to join, and anyway, like we allow usually 5 minutes buffer time. We will want to join. So then we will start. Hi Santosh. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi Mauli. Good morning.
Hi Rajesh, good morning.
Very good morning.
Naveen Reddy is running actually exclusive course for this blockchain technologies. I don't know actually how many people, do you aware of Naveen Reddy? He runs like a Telesco channel.
No, I am not, at least. I'm not sure about others.
Okay, so he runs actually a regular course on blockchain technologies.
Oh, okay. So it's in UK, is it? Or UK specific or
No,
across the
from
globe?
India. From India.
From India. Oh, okay.
And it is affordable though. I think they charge around 10,000 rupees.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Actually, the speaker is our one of the partners in IDS. They are from India, and we got alliance with the T-Risk, Digital Disruption, and got alliance with T-Risk and IDS. So we were connected when we were pitching to the National Bank of Nigeria, and they delivered all the trainings based out of Singapore to the South African team. So almost all the senior executives to the core developers team, they used to be part of that. So I was really impressed the way how they delivered this program, and then I invited him to see like whether he can demystify some of blockchain concepts to our team actually, or at least our community. That might be helpful.
Yeah. That's really good actually. See, because it's next technology is actually Web 3.0, right? Actually, so better. Actually,
Exactly. It's going to be another internet era kind of. So whoever picks up this Web 3.0 at this stage, they are going to be like so good.
So,
Hi Santosh. Hi Naresh. Good morning. There are a lot of things happening in even Web 3.0 as well. Like it's picking up a lot compared to the past. So even
upcoming technologies actually this Web 3.0 and quantum computing.
and metaverse actually. So metaverse is part of this anyway, like the integratedly or interchangeable, let's say. Give me a second. Let me check with the speaker. We got
Pas
back
cepat
to the
din,
action.
bilis din po. Konson din po.
Hi Naresh, good morning.
Hello, fine, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Naresh, you are audible.
Yeah, sorry, I think. Yeah.
Okay, Arvind is here with the magic number 10.
Yeah,
hi
hi.
Arvind, good morning.
Yeah, hi, Rajesh.
Hi Arvind.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning, Prasad.
Yeah, we got magic number 10 with your presence, so we are very happy. So
Okay,
at least,
okay.
yes, usually we give 5 minutes buffer. So without any further ado, to respect the time box, we can start it.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever joined recently, to introduce myself, this is Rajesh Suguru, Chief Executive Officer of Digital Disruption Technologies. We got our presence in UK, Singapore, and in India. And we are into the capital market services. Consulting is our key focus, and we are planning to extend it to the blockchain in the future in alliance with IDS and D-Risk. And Arvind is one of the best trainers I ever come across in the blockchain. And before I meet Arvind, my perception on the blockchain used to be like completely different. And I used to think always about Ethereum and whatever, like public blockchains called Bitcoin. But after I met Arvind, I really uncovered a lot of potential that we can use in the private blockchain. And obviously, like we can empower a lot of organizations in their way. So I want to hear from Arvind itself to give his introduction, because I think I can misrepresent if I do. Thank you, Arvind. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh. And it's amazing to connect with all IT practitioners, as you pointed, who want to really explore blockchain. And indeed, if you look at my work within blockchain ecosystem for last 4.5 years, 4.5 to 5 years, like very seriously. And even before that, I used to be a newbie exploring all the things. But in last 4.5 years, I led 11 plus enterprise blockchain projects across various domains, be it supply chain, telecom, energy accounting in the power sector, and also GRC, governance, risk and compliance, and CBDC, central bank digital currencies. Indeed worked with a couple of central banks on their retail CBDC and digital identity projects, and also working with Ministry of Education in India and AICTE, and building the world's largest educational metaverse by name Polyversity. So it's an enterprise metaverse, which is again something which is a niche, what we are working on. And around 100 academic partners, like 100 universities in India across 15 states is what already on board, and they all maintain the layer 1. So that's is something which is a very interesting project, which I'm heading, and of course many other domains. But if you look at my contribution to the blockchain ecosystem, especially in India, I was recognized by India Blockchain Forum, which is an industry consortium of all the blockchain influencers. So I was recognized as one of the top 50 blockchain influencers in India. And yeah, pleasure to be the youngest in the list. But I think the kind of work which is happening in blockchain space is unprecedented, and the rate at which its adoption is happening is also very rapid, and there is a reason for it, which will demystify as I progress in this thing. But I'm a product leader as a solution architect, and last comes my role. So I don't strongly believe in these roles, but anyways, I'm heading IDS, Information Data Systems, a Michigan-based company, which has been there from 1996, as a vice president for blockchain practice and products, and soon getting assuming the role of executive director blockchain as a stakeholder of the company. So I think this is my quick intro. I have experience and expertise enabling organizations explore their journey into both public blockchain and private blockchain or permissioned blockchain. And indeed, over last 2.5 years, I upskilled over 2,000 plus central bankers, fintech leaders, CXOs, product leaders, and indeed also led certain cohorts for a couple of universities in India, upskilling undergrads and grads. So knowledge sharing is my passion, and that is where I came across Rajesh, indeed, because I'm also a accredited blockchain trainer for Institute of Banking and Finance, IBF Singapore. So we did that over 20 cohorts, and Rajesh is part of, I think, cohort 12 or 13. But it's been an amazing journey, the kind of interest and the kind of pursuit by Rajesh is definitely something which I appreciate among all the people who learn blockchain from me. But it's not just learning, right? It's connecting to it, resonating with it, and trying to create more value and impact with the technology. So I think in that context, it's my pleasure to be here. So and I request everyone to switch on your cameras if possible, because I mean, I don't see your expressions and I don't know like whether I'm making sense to you or not. So in that context, I don't ask any serious questions as such or tough questions. So you can feel comfortable, switch on your camera, and let's try to understand this technology. And I understood from Rajesh that all are pretty much working on legacy technologies and the enterprise side, but we'll also see what is this blockchain has to offer in enterprise side. So we'll make it very organic. So we'll make it little informal. I'm not here to like a formal discussion and all. Rather, let's try to understand what's your point of view of this technology blockchain. And we'll also demystify it or break some myths, or also see how you can actually align your professional career growth in these lines with a touch of blockchain. Yeah, n number of possibilities. It is just that you need to open up and discuss. So the floor is open. So now I request you all to just talk a minute on what you are doing, what's your domain, and what's your view of blockchain. So that will actually set the context for me in terms of the mix of audience I have today. So we can go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to say, I forgot his name. Well, my name is Jay. I'm working as a
Yeah,
business
I'm
intelligence.
Arvind. I'm Arvind.
My name is Jang. I'm working as a business intelligence developer for Highways England. Just looking all the data warehouse data in between Balfour BT and National Highways. Just I'm making dashboards and supporting to the operational stream for M25.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay. So what's
Hi,
your, so yeah, you missed one thing. So what's your view of blockchain? What made you pulled here?
Actually, no. It's a new subject for me. Just I want to learn what is this, how the circuit system works. That's why I joined.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Understand. So you want to know it basically, what it is and all. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi,
Yes,
Arvind.
thank you.
Myself, Prasad. I'm working with NHS Digital as a senior software engineer. I work actually for web application developments like front end and back end using back end actually Python. I
Okay.
worked as a data scientist as well. So this
Interesting.
day to day actually I work on web applications. So I know actually very much about Web 3.0.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
So I have someone in the group so that I can't just speak anything random.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who is going next?
Good morning, all. Good morning, Arvind.
Yeah.
My name is Shrikant Sarwat. I'm a SAP BI architect, business intelligence architect. I work currently with a Swiss-based company called Hilti. So yeah, I'm working there from last 1.5 years. I'm a freelancer. Coming to blockchain, I do not have much concept. I do not know much about this. I mean, I know how the transactions will track each from the start to the end. A little bit, I know how from where everything has to track. There should be a link across the thing, without which we cannot do. So I want to explore and I want to know what are the use cases in different industries. So that's
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll touch upon certain use cases. So what domain are you coming from? So it's business intelligence, but
Yeah, I'm a BI architect.
domains,
It's a data warehousing, SAP. It's a data warehousing end to end.
supply chain or operations. Or
I
what
do
is-
everything. I do finance, R2R, P2P, HR, all the data that are there in different source systems. I do the ETL part, data model, and do
Okay.
the reporting.
And industries, what industries did you work on?
In my nearly 18 years experience, nearly 20 years experience, I worked in utilities, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, public sector. Yeah, almost all I have worked except for the financial.
Okay. Yeah. Because I can give some use cases in
Yeah.
the domains you work, industries you worked on. So that's why I asked. Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
This is Santosh. I'm working as a solution architect in Shell. I'm working working on EV space for the past 5-6 years. Electric vehicle charging and the network, EV network and all. So in terms of blockchain, I've just had a vague idea, but I don't know if it's correct or wrong. So
Okay.
consider me as a newbie.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, Arvind. My name is Rajesh.
Yeah.
I work in cloud and DevOps space. Even I'm new to the blockchain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Arvind. Nice meeting you. I'm Mauli. I work with DXC Technology, and I'm into testing since past 16 years. So I've just worked across banking, capital markets, insurance, and currently I work for NHS.
Okay. Interesting. what's
Hi,
your
good morning all. This is Srinivas. I'm from automotive domain and new to blockchain. Just an interest to learn how what things are and the things. That's the main aim to join.
okay? Okay, and yeah, Sudhamani, Naresh, Shiva, yeah. Sorry, you are on mute, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work in automotive and NHS, and currently I used to work in BT. My job role is data quality analyst. Yeah, blockchain is new to me as well. Yeah, I would like to learn more about blockchain. Yeah.
Okay, okay, sure. Yeah, Naresh and Shiva.
Hi Arvind, I'm Shiva Gudwada. I have been working in a product called 3D Experience. The domain is PLM, which is Product Lifecycle Management, since many years in the same product. Started as a developer and then business analyst and then solution architect. So at the moment, finally settled as an infrastructure architect. I'm working with Airbus at the moment as a freelancer, independent consultant. Yeah, blockchain, I really don't know, but I'm just wondering, if I really compare with supply chain, probably, it connects all different domains. That's what my understanding as of now. So first of all, thank you, and everyone who is organizing this in this community. Thank you all, and I'm very much interested to explore the blockchain. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Naresh.
Yeah, I'm Naresh. I'm from automotive background. I work for Jaguar, so I'm interested in understanding what is blockchain technology. I'm keep hearing about this from last 3-4 years, and one of my friend also is into investment. He's keep telling about Ethereum and Bitcoin, so I wanted to understand what it is actually. Yeah.
Okay, understand. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cryptocurrencies.
No. And my son want to join, I think. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
They are the people who will be leading all Web3 Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I got a very good understanding of like what you are looking from this quick interaction. So see, one we'll first understand the positioning of blockchain as a technology, because in Industry 4.0 and Web 3.0, right? So today we are in Industry 4.0 and we are also in Web 3.0. And blockchain plays a very important role in enabling all these two things. And it is also complementary with other technologies, be it AI, data analytics, or cloud, and extended reality like metaverse, IoT. So all these are different technologies which are parallelly evolving, and blockchain is something which is also one layer which complements in terms of what it adds to IT applications. Okay, so in that context, I'll try to start with what is this blockchain as a technology, and then what is the unique value proposition it brings on table, and we'll see how its architecture is different from the typical applications which we use today or the server architectures which we use today. And then slowly I'll take you to the types of blockchain, that is public and private. Okay, and then we'll see use cases. Make sense, everyone? Yes. Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we are aligned on this. So let me quick kickstart. Just give me a moment. Okay. The host, can you enable share screen, please? Okay, yeah. Okay, hope you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, as I already highlighted, this is my quick role and the kind of responsibilities. So I'm chair for Hyperledger Governance, Risk and Compliance Special Interest Group, alumnus of IIIT Hyderabad and Liverpool Business School. So this is quick thing, and then now we can get into the masterclass. Okay. First of all, let's look at why blockchain as a technology. So while we have a number of technologies already in place, what is its unique value proposition and its positioning is something we'll see. If you carefully observe in last decade, the digital transformation efforts got accelerated, and today we see everything is pretty much digital. And as governments and businesses are increasingly becoming digital, the need for trust or data integrity has become an imperative. Now, say for example, you are using a web application and you're seeing certain data as a user. How do you trust that data is not tampered? Who is assuring the trust? Hello? Anyone? It's okay. I mean, I don't mind if it is right or wrong, but I just want interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, access management security systems.
Right. So
Authentication.
basically, yeah. So
Yeah.
so there is an administrative control and access controls, right? Who is actually are entrusted to make sure the system is intact and the data integrity is assured, right? So basically the trust is on the organization and the administrative controls, or who is the service provider. Can I say that? The one who is maintaining the server and facilitating that application is the one who is entrusted to make sure data integrity is assured, right? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yes. So in that context, now tell me, can an admin edit the data, or can an organization, the service provider, can mess up with the data or manipulate intentionally or unintentionally and
Yes,
make
sir.
sure everything is intact? Everything
Yeah.
looks intact. Can they do it?
Yeah, it is possible.
It is possible, because today the trust or the IT systems which we use in our day-to-day life are centralized. In the sense, there is an organization and an administrative control which assures that data integrity is maintained. So though the users have restrictions in terms of editing it or messing up with the data or manipulating it, but the administrative control can comfortably do some changes if they really want to, and delete the logs and make sure the data looks good, right? The cooking the books can happen internally, right? That is within the organization. And an external hacker can actually intrude into the server and mess up with the data, which is also a scenario where data integrity is compromised. Agree? So in that context, can I say that today IT systems, the centralized IT systems which we use today, are vulnerable to two things: an internal attack or external attack? Agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? But now if you look at this technology called blockchain, it has a unique value proposition because its architecture is little different compared to our centralized IT system. Rather, this is a decentralized IT system. In the sense, the data is not managed or governed by one server. Rather, it's a distributed system. Basically, n number of servers maintain the database. And the database structure is also a little different, which we'll soon understand. But the point is, blockchain creates data immutability. That means once data is in the system, no one can tamper it. Okay, so data immutability is what the unique value proposition, and it's more like a distributed systems. And this is what makes blockchain a trust machine. Okay, so what is trust machine? Why it is called as blockchain is called as trust machine? Because whatever data is put on the blockchain ledger database is meant to be immutable. It's tamper proof. Okay, so this is the intent. Now you can understand, oh, okay, enterprises who are looking to use blockchain, what is the first intent while they decide to use blockchain is one, whatever critical data which should not be tampered with should be put on blockchain. So most of the use cases around blockchain, if you carefully observe, you will see this one as one of the very key intent. And the second one is when multiple stakeholders are involved in data sharing. Now, say, for example, organization A shared the data with organization B, and organization B shares the same data with organization C. Now, when data is moving cross organizations, how does C know that B didn't tamper the data before sharing it with C? Hello? Now let's take a supply chain. There is a manufacturer, distributor, wholesaler, retailer. Now a product moves, a serial number product moves from manufacturer to distributor to wholesaler to retailer. So the product journey is across, right? But the problem is each of the stakeholder has their own data silos, their own enterprise centralized IT system, which captures the product journey, but no one has end-to-end visibility. Agree? Hello?
Yes, Arvind.
Right? But in that context, what happens? People can mix. Now, a same serial number can be duplicated and can be sold to two wholesalers, and no one can actually capture whether the same serial number was used here and there, because there is no end-to-end visibility, or there is no common database for all these stakeholders to trust. So the second intent of using blockchain is commonly when multiple stakeholders are involved to deal with one data. When there are multiple writers, that means they capture the data of same asset again and again, here and there, and everyone wants the visibility to it. Then they go with this blockchain because all of them can have same version of truth, because it's a distributed database or a distributed ledger. So in that context, what is a blockchain? So why blockchain? We understood we need trust, we need data integrity. And today the number of cyber attacks are like growing crazily, as we see. And indeed, the centralized IT systems have become vulnerable for that. And also, a lot of frauds are happening within the enterprises, as we saw. Many IT companies, many financial companies, lots of companies, the internal attacks have become a very big problem. Just imagine, I saw the news yesterday. There is a company, a startup called Flank, a fintech startup called Flank or something, which is into student loans and all. You know what? JP Morgan bought them for $175 million. Okay, because the numbers they showed in terms of the users, customers, is unprecedented. And they are like, oh, this is like a hot cake. Okay, I want to buy it. So JP Morgan bought it. And do you know what they realized? They used a data scientist, okay, actually to create fake accounts. And indeed, the highest limit of an Excel sheet is some 10 million, some records. That is the max number to which all the profiles were created. And they actually fudged the number of customers they have. It's clearly an scenario of manipulating internally, right? And now they are on, like, they're suing. So I think the due diligence is not done properly before acquisition. But see, this is one of the other biggest challenge. So one thing which is consistently happening across in digital world is you can't really trust the data. Data sanity is one of the biggest problem. Next, what is blockchain then? How it is different? Now, if you look at blockchain, it is called as Internet of Value. Now, someone was explaining blockchain as some transactions going here and there and the link and all, right? So in actual terms, actually blockchain is a distributed ledger governed by a peer-to-peer network. Okay, I'll define these two terms soon. But in simple terms, you need to understand it as there are multiple stakeholders. If the stakeholders are public, then it is public blockchain. If the stakeholders are organizations, a closed group of organizations, it's a private blockchain or an enterprise blockchain. But still the concepts remain pretty much same. And all these servers or nodes maintain the same copy of ledger. That means they are all in sync with each other. So that is why it is consensus driven distributed ledger governed by a peer-to-peer network. So what is a peer-to-peer network? Like a group of consortium members who are coming together and maintaining a node to the network. So what this brings? This brings trust and transparent data sharing and no scope for information asymmetries. So there is no need of internal audit, external audit, third-party audit, that compliance, this compliance. All this is coming just because there is no trust. Agree? Agree with me? Everyone?
Yes. Yeah.
In spite of having digital transformation efforts, when data is to move outside the organization, still we rely on paperwork or we rely on a trusted third party. Now, when a bank is doing a transaction, like people coming from capital markets and banking sector, you know, whenever there is a transaction happening between one bank to other bank, the central bank acts as a trusted third party, correct?
Correct.
And whenever a money is moving from a bank in one country to bank in other country, it happens through SWIFT. So SWIFT is acting as a trusted third party, correct?
Correct.
So in that context, the internet which we have created today, or the IT applications which we have created today, are creating data silos. Though we can share the data, but you can't verify the integrity of the data. That is not assured by default. That is where you need trusted third party or paperwork or audit, compliance, all checks and balances, operational overhead because of all this. Tell me, half of your life you have spent time on making sure it is aligned with the audit and compliance. Agree? Half of your lifetime. Everyone, whatever industry they belong to, whatever domain they belong to. Agree?
Yeah.
Right? So
Correct.
indeed, what is supposed to, the digital transformation, which is supposed to make our lives easy, have actually complicated the things on certain directions. And that is what blockchain is trying to address. Okay. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'll try to demystify it step by step. But one thing I want to tell you is the internet which we are using today is internet of information. Now, 20 years back, if you take before internet era, if you want to share some information with someone, how did you do that? Hello?
Paperwork or emails?
No, even before internet.
Letters.
Letters or a quick telegram, right? Through a trusted third party. So what happened? Before internet, you need to rely on a trusted third party to make sure your information passes to the receiver, correct? And the cost, time of sharing information is higher. And when internet came, who owns internet? Tell me, who owns internet? Hello?
Service providers.
Third-party provider.
Everyone or no one, you can say. Who owns internet? Everyone.
Everyone.
Third-party provider.
No. I mean, see, your service provider is only an access point. He doesn't own the whole internet, correct? I'm asking who owns the internet which we use today?
Every user.
Yes. Every user.
Everyone in the world, like they own it because it's a shared infrastructure. It's an open infrastructure, right? It's a collective ownership. Now, on an open network with email, what happened? The sender and receiver can set up a email servers on their own, and without relying on a trusted third party through this open network, they can share peer-to-peer information, correct? That is what happened with email, right? Hello?
Yes.
What happened with email? Two things. One, disintermediation, correct? Now I no longer need to depend on postal system to do it. Second, speed. Because using an open network, a digital media, an open network, by encrypting the information and decrypting it at the receiver side, I can do a peer-to-peer exchange of information. Now, what has changed with blockchain? Let me explain. Now, let's take the crazy thing with which all this blockchain became famous. What is that? Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what is Bitcoin essentially? If you carefully observe today, can you move money without involving your banks?
No.
I'm not talking about physical cash. I'm talking about digital payment rails. Without involving your bank, can you move money?
No.
Before 2008?
No.
No. Why? Bank is the only trusted third party through which you can move money, correct?
Yes.
That's right.
They charge you. And if it is an international transaction, again, there is a different charges. For local, it's a different charges. And it's basically, it's not only about charges. Basically, you without involving trusted third party, you can't do a peer-to-peer exchange of value. But what happened with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which is managed on an open network. And who maintains the ledger? In traditional system, banks maintain the ledger. But in a public blockchain, all the public who maintain nodes or server hosts a copy of the ledger. That means all the public is who is maintaining the ledger copy. And who uses it? Public uses it. And like how we have bank accounts in blockchain, especially in cryptocurrency, there is a wallet, which is like an account. And once you log into that wallet, you can do transactions without involving banks, without involving central bank issued money. So now this turns out to be little crazy, because if at some point of time, if all the postal system is disintermediated for sharing direct peer-to-peer exchange of information, people felt crazy, right? In early days, when internet came, what was the thought? What is the thinking? It is just a passing fad, right? Did you see the news? Somewhere in 1990s, 95, internet is just a passing fad. Like people didn't believe the kind of adoption what people saw there at that point of time. So what is happening with internet of value? That means anything of value can be represented as an asset on blockchain, and people can do peer-to-peer exchange of value without involving any trusted third parties or intermediaries. Now, how is this relevant to enterprises? Now, let me ask you one question. Let's take money. Money is a unit of value, correct?
Yes.
Second, can a land record be an asset? Is land record an asset?
Yes.
Yes. Very recently, I don't know if some of you, some or most of you might belong to Andhra, where you have your new capital city, which is in dilemma now, but at some point of time, when Amravati was announced, all the land records were issued on blockchain. Did you notice that? How many of you know that? No one?
What's that
Mhm.
actually?
Not
Arvind?
aware.
The land records which were issued to all the farmers who gave away their land to capital city,
Yeah.
were issued a land record on blockchain technology so that even the officers, the revenue officers or the insiders can't mess up with the data or tamper the data, because people didn't trust the government at that point of time.
Oh, not
Because
aware
if
of
all
it.
the records are available on a centralized IT system, which is under the maintenance of government, what happens? The value of lands in capital city is so huge that there is a lot of scope for corruption, correct?
Correct.
So at that time, the land records, the coordinates, and the hash of the data is stored on a blockchain network so that a single authority can't mess up with the data. So land records were issued on blockchain. Recently, a state in Maharashtra state issued vaccine certificates on blockchain. And if you take, there is a port in Japan who were tracking tuna fish. Tuna fish, it's a food supply chain where every tuna fish is having an asset ID and every transfer of ownership is captured on blockchain so that the end consumer can actually scan the QR and can get the end-to-end movement of the tuna fish. Now, people are not listing the stocks on traditional stock exchanges or capital markets. Rather, the companies are listing themselves on a cryptocurrency exchange as a token. What is a token? Token is nothing but a stock of a company listed on a public blockchain network. So what did you understand? The nature of internet, which connects everything, is changing basically. And it is moving from internet of information to internet of value, where anything of value can be represented as an asset and people can do transactions, peer-to-peer transactions. Now, traditionally, now even if you take a bank, why do we involve banks for our transactions? One, for as a trusted third party, right? Tomorrow, if the other party deny it, you can go to the bank and say, hey, you are maintaining the ledger of all my transactions, right? Can you please show that I did this transaction? You can go and ask, right? Audit trail, correct? Agree?
Yes.
But now imagine there is a public blockchain network where you, me, anyone in the world can maintain a server and can maintain that global ledger of transactions, where any transaction happening on this network, which are defined on that network, the ledger is maintained by everyone in the network. So this is what blockchain is. Blockchain is internet of value. So obviously, technically, this is little different architecture. So let's deep dive into the next slide for further information or further understanding. So Arvind, you are saying blockchain is trust machine. No one can tamper the data. Second, you are saying that you don't need intermediaries anymore. Rather, peer-to-peer exchange of value can happen because blockchain facilitates a distributed ledger maintained by not any intermediary or bank or a stock exchange or traditional intermediaries. Rather, a public network or an enterprise network can facilitate the trust. So then what is this block and what is this chain? So this is something which we'll try to understand now. Basically, in the previous slide, I told you blockchain is internet of value where people can have wallets, people can define assets, and they can do transactions, correct?
Yeah.
Now, if that is the case, can I say people do transactions on blockchain? Hello?
Yeah, of course.
Make sense? People
Yes,
do
makes sense.
transactions. That is the nature of activity happening on the network. Now, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry, there is some some construction work, it seems. Did you hear some noise of drilling and all?
Nothing.
No,
We-
nothing.
we do.
No, it's all good.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. So now if you take the tradition, I mean, so one, on blockchain, people do transactions, correct? Second, what is a typical database type for dealing with transactions? Hello? People coming from banks,
Ledgers.
capital markets.
Ledgers.
Yes. Ledger is a database. Yeah, ledger database, correct? Now,
Correct.
what is a ledger database? What is a ledger database? Anyone? How it is different from the traditional relational database?
Every transaction is recorded, actually.
Okay, I mean, even in a traditional database, every entry is an entry, right? Everything is an entry. But what is the key difference?
Ledgers, they come into the financial, they are part of that accounting system, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I understand.
It
But
should
that's
be
not
Yeah.
the key difference. Yeah.
That has to be approved by every user.
It can be traditional database also, right? Now, say when you are going to a Gmail account or Facebook account, right? You log in and you create a post or a mail.
Yeah.
It's only you who you are authorized to do it, right? So there are some approvals and access controls here also in relational databases as well.
It must be immutable.
No?
Is it something like it is every transaction is audited?
No. Okay, let me answer. Okay. Now, see, if you take a typical database, I see a lot of experienced data engineers and all, right? If you take a typical database, you can do 4 operations: create, read, update, delete. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
CRUD operations. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
But on a ledger, you can only do create and read. No update, no delete.
Correct.
Right? Because
Yeah.
ledger is an append-only database. You can't edit the past data. If you want some change, you need to do a new transaction to accommodate the change. Now, let me give you examples. So people coming from non-banking or non-fintech, to give you an easy example, let me ask you, the most easily seen ledger is your account statement, your bank account statement, right? I'm sure each one of you typically see your bank account statement. It's a ledger, right? All your transactions are chronologically placed, correct? Are they jumbled up or chronologically placed?
Chronologically.
Chronological. And every transaction has a timestamp, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And third, see, if you carefully observe, imagine you did a transaction of, say, 1,000 euros to your friend, but you are actually supposed to do only 100. By mistake, there was an additional 0. Can you call up the bank and say, hey, by mistake, I did 1,000 transactions, please update it?
No, can't.
No.
You can't. You need to ask the other friend to send back 900 euros. If he's a good guy, he will do it. That's a different story. But a new entry of transaction has to happen to accommodate the change. But you can't update the entry in the ledger. Correct? Makes
That's
sense?
right. Yeah, makes sense.
One.
Yes.
And second, imagine you went to an ATM and there was a debit, but the cash didn't come out. Right? But then a reversal happens, correct? But
That's
if you
right.
carefully observe, the transaction didn't happen, right? They can just remove that, right? They can just delete that entry, right? But will they?
No, they can't.
They don't. And they can't, because the ledger database follows that append only. Now they debit it and then reversal a credit so that they accommodate that. Okay. So in that context, when you are dealing with transactions, the transaction can be a cryptocurrency or a token or a supply chain product with have a serial number, or it can be a land record, it can be a university certificate, it can be a land record, vaccine certificate, whatnot, electronic medical record. So someone said you are working on NHS. I think NHS is National Health
System. Yeah, correct.
System,
yeah,
right?
national.
Okay, good. So even electronic medical records. Today, all our medical data is scattered across multiple hospitals, which we visit in our lifetime, and each one of them identify with their own data ID typically. Now, all of them are to be consolidated. So such kind of integrity or such kind of data transfer. So don't think Internet of Value means it's only cryptocurrencies. That is one myth I want to break. Blockchain is not equal to cryptocurrencies. Sorry. If someone has that understanding, sorry. Cryptocurrency is only one of the application of blockchain technology. But blockchain as a technology has wider scope of usage. Now tell me, Internet, let me ask you one question. Internet. Which industry uses internet?
All
Every
industry.
Every industry.
You will say virtually, yeah, everything, right? Every industry will use. Now, internet evolved from internet of information to internet of value, a next evolutionary step. So who will use it?
Everyone.
Everyone.
That's why blockchain is a foundational technology. It has use cases across every industry which is available on earth, because every industry which is becoming digital needs the data integrity, data verifiability, and data authenticity. Agree?
Agree.
Okay, so that is one of the big picture which you need to really understand. Blockchain is a distributed ledger governed by a peer-to-peer network, and this ledger can store the transactions of anything of value. Now, what is metaverse? How many of you came across metaverse? Anyone?
Yeah, heard the name from Facebook, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, sorry?
Heard the name from Facebook, but we don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. See, first of all, metaverse, I mean, Facebook changed its name as Meta as one of the metaverse application, but it's not the definition of Meta. Meta is not equal to metaverse. Metaverse is like Decentraland, Sandbox. There are a number. It's like virtual worlds.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality worlds where you have a virtual world, virtual land parcels, each represented as a token on a blockchain network, and people buy it, trade it, rent it, lease it. So now tell me, in a virtual world, which is all digital, a land parcel with a particular serial number is represented as an asset on this network, as on the ledger, that this wallet owns this land parcel. And now when this land owner transfers that land to someone else, there is a transfer of ownership, which is also captured as a transaction on this ledger. So remember, blockchain is a generalized distributed ledger. What does that mean? The ledger can store transaction of anything of value. It can be virtual lands, it can be real lands, it can be certificates, land records, electronic medical records, supply chain goods, even central bank digital currency. Now, I'm sure most of you know Digital Euro project, which was announced by the central bank, European Central Bank recently, right? How many of you came across that?
I have read it vaguely, yeah.
Right?
Even RBI is implementing.
Even RBI launched it. Almost all central banks across the world are experimenting. Even China launched its e-yuan. Nigeria in Africa launched Central Bank of Nigeria, e-naira. Bahamas, sand dollar. Now you might wonder, right? Already we are doing digital payments, right? Then what is this digital currency? Did you get that doubt?
Yes.
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 Right? Already we are doing digital transactions, right? Then what is the need for digital currency? Then what is the additional value it creates? So I'm sure everyone should be wondering this. What is a value add?
It's more transparent, right? Transactions are transparent with the money, who owns what money.
Correct. So basically, in central bank digital currency, central bank, FIs, NFIs will maintain the nodes in the network, and all of them will maintain the old copy of ledger so that money movement can be effectively managed. Now central bank can regulate money movement properly. Second, smart contract. So smart contract is another capability of blockchain where you can actually program the flow of money. I'll give you one simple example. You heard about this minimum, what is that? Basic minimum income. Right? Did you come across this? Or direct benefit transfers? Some government scheme or direct benefit to the citizens, right? Say for example.
Yeah.
So today what happens? Now say for example, all the citizens of Europe get say 1,000 euros per month. Whoever has age of above 60 will get 1,000 euros for healthcare, let's assume. Now today what can happen with central bank digital currency is, or let me talk about how it would happen with legacy system. Now central bank and the government Ministry of Health will roll out the scheme, and the ministry will distribute money to the banks, and from banks it goes to the citizens. This is one approach. Second, citizens will get the service and the service providers will get it reimbursed by the government under scheme. So different countries follow different method. Okay. But now there is a lot of operational overhead for banks, or sorry, for Ministry of Health to manage this kind of schemes today. Because different citizens have different bank accounts. So dispersal and banks also should be given certain service fee and lots of other formalities and all. But do you know what can happen with central bank digital currency? On one central bank digital currency, banks need not be involved in the process at all. Rather, all the citizens will have a CBDC wallet, and with a one click of smart contract based on the eligibility criteria encoded in the smart contract, all the money gets dispersed. And the beauty is all the healthcare service providers wallets can be whitelisted so that money transfer can only happen to the whitelisted service providers accounts, wallets. Otherwise, the money will not flow for other purposes. It can be only used for the intended purpose. Now, after 1 month, only some of them used it and others didn't use it. After 1 month, all the money which is left, not spent, will go back to Ministry of Health. Can this happen in today's digital payment rails?
Definitely.
Can it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But with a lot of cost, lot of operational overhead, and indeed, that such whitelisting, codifying it, and defining the movement of money is very tough to happen in existing system. But with central bank digital currency, it will happen with a click of smart contract, which is again a blockchain network basically. So the people who said yes, it can happen. The point is now central bank disperses the money to the banks, and people claim it. Then reconciliation, all this reconciliation itself will charge a lot of services fee to manage that, to disperse that. Okay, so the cost of achieving this functionality in traditional digital payment rails is very tough, because in banking system, you can only distribute, maybe escrow mechanism, like distribute it, lock it, okay, or reverse it. That's it, right? Can you put up the conditions? Can you codify the scheme itself?
Yes, of course.
So in what way?
Like on a different conditions, we can make it happen.
No, dispersing, reversal, whitelisting. So all these processes.
All these processes are not possible in the current time.
No, all these processes can be governed by one single smart contract. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And which is across the banks again. See, again, the banks need not update or install this application. And again, the bank need not reconcile with the central bank that, yes, we installed this and it is working fine. All this process is not required. On blockchain, once a smart contract is deployed, all the service providers, all the banks will have that smart contract deployed by default, same code.
Okay.
Because it's a distributed ledger.
Ledger.
It's not like this architecture. It's a decentralized system. So now let's go further deeper. Now every IT application has a backend, correct? Now if you look at the backend, the traditional IT systems which we use in enterprises, most of the SAP, Oracle and all are pretty much centralized, correct?
That's right.
Right? Where they have a central server and you have no data, user requests, everything coming to this. But sometimes it can be multinational companies or say a trusted third party facilitating the data between two organizations. So distributed architectures we see typically in MNCs. Now, if you take an MNC, what happens? You have a head office, right? Where you have your main server and you can have sub servers. But at the end of the day, the sub server should reconcile the data with the central server, correct?
Yeah, replication happens.
Right? So that reconciliation with the central server only will give finality to the data. Till that, the data is not confirmed, right? That particular transaction or whatever. So what is happening in traditional, the systems which we use today? Both of them have a single point of failure, agree?
That's right.
If I can attack this single server, central server, the data is compromised. And even if you take a distributed IT system, if the central server is attacked, again, the data is compromised. And here the trust is only within the organization. Once the data crosses organization, you need either a trusted third party or paperwork. Correct? But now if you take blockchain, here all the nodes are maintained by different stakeholders and all of them come into consensus when they commit the transactions to the database, local copy. Every node maintains a whole copy of ledger. And whenever they commit new transactions, they commit as a block of transactions. Every time slot, a set of transactions are pooled and a block gets created. And that block is added to local copy by all the nodes only when all the nodes verify it and all of them come into consensus. That means automatic reconciliation of data happens here.
But there is a lot of duplication here, right? In many places.
Correct. So it's not the actual data which gets replicated, rather the hash of the data, the cryptographic hash of the data, which gets duplicated across the nodes. And while traditional IT systems uses relational databases, right? The data structure is a linked list typically, whereas blockchain uses a Merkle tree structure, which is optimized. So the data structure is different.
I have a few questions here. Understand data duplicacy, and then it's only storing the hash values. Resource intensive, right? You copying, you placing the same hash copy across multiple. And yes. I noticed, so there are so many news here across the grids down in some villages and some towns because of people are using this more power to that maintain the ledgers. And because that's also charges are very high. So if a transaction they maintain for that, they're getting the money, and charges are very high compared to the general current system. That's the one thing I noticed.
Okay. So let me answer it. As per World Bank, if you do a global transaction, the average cost of transaction fee is 6.94%. Agree?
Yeah.
Your transaction fee, pre-post charges, and also the conversion fee and all, correct? Mm-hmm. But if you do a cross-border transaction using, like, say, typical cryptocurrencies, be it Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, it is 1% to 2% max. And if you take Hedera, the next generation, new generation blockchains like Hedera and also Solano and Ripple. So some of these have using innovative and lightweight consensus mechanisms, which have brought down the cost. And even recently, Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake consensus mechanism, which is a different consensus mechanism, which brought down the energy consumptions significantly down.
It's still significantly high compared to the general normal transactions, right?
Cost, you're saying about cost?
Yeah, cost and then resources. Yeah.
So in what, I mean, so say for example, all the banks, all the central banks, all the SWIFT system servers and all the payment service providers, and you see the money transfer operators, just count all the servers which are maintained across the world. And if you take Bitcoin, which has 100,000 plus nodes, tell me which one is lightweight.
Okay. I mean, I don't know much details, but I'm talking about central banks. You compare the resources across all the transactions from central bank to the customer.
That's how they do the FUD. So don't.
Yeah. The
One
servers
important point we need to understand here is, if you look at the traditional, okay, so let me show you some research. So let me not talk, rather let me show. Okay, so just give me a moment. That's a very good question. So in terms of cost, you understood, right?
Yeah.
In terms of cost, 6.94 is definitely higher compared to 1% or whatever percentage which typically goes.
Sure.
And if you look at the traditional cash versus gold versus BTC, let's take Bitcoin. Okay.
But it's picking up right now. Just in future, if it can be a monopoly at the time, it's kind of a whatever they charge, we need to pay, right?
Blockchain.
Maybe it's 1% now.
Yeah, 1 second. Blockchain, any blockchain network can never get into monopoly, and they try to push their agenda on the people. If they do it, peoples will switch to new blockchain network. They'll go away. Okay. So they need to remain competitive if they want to. So say, for example, let's take Amazon Web Services. Okay. Cloud.
Yeah.
Now they have like pretty much major stake in the cloud marketplace, correct?
Yeah.
But just because they are a market leader and they have majority market share, can they just keep on increasing the prices? Will they?
No.
Why? Why?
The competition is
the other competitors may go and like slightly reduce it, and then people may switch, correct? So cryptocurrencies are N. So imagine some people like got monopoly or Bitcoin. Okay. People will immediately find a cheaper alternative. So that means the value of that. So the moment utility of that coin goes down, obviously the value of the coin goes down and everything will be on downfall. So that's why monopolistic attitudes will not work in blockchain, because it's a shared ownership. It's a distributed system.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So compared to centralized systems, which are there, these are like definitely you can switch. Now, say for example, let's take a country in some African continent where there is hyperinflation. Okay. Now, can they switch their currency?
I don't know.
No choice, right? I mean, see, when you're in a country, you need to use the sovereign currency. That's it, right? You can't just go and use euros or INR there, right?
Sure.
Correct. But if you take these cryptocurrencies, it's a community driven medium of exchange. It's like bartering. We went back to the early human history, like barter. So the value of a coin is as good as the number of people who use it. Correct? That is currency, right?
Of course, yeah.
Right? Then eventually we got central banks and all this. But initially when humanity started, the nature of money is the value of a money or a currency is as good as the number of people who believe in it, use it. So I think the monopolistic attitudes will not work.
Sure. Thanks for clarification. Yeah.
In this, okay. And now coming to the comparison. Okay. Now, if you take the energy consumption, okay, sorry. I think so for a given value, So you can see this. So there was some data analysis. And for a value of same value of movement of money, okay, what is the estimated annual energy consumption is something which was calculated. Okay. Now, when we talk about energy consumption of the network, we need to also talk about the energy consumption of the existing systems, right? Now, let's do some objective analysis. Now, if you take banking system, you have a lot of hundreds of banking data centers and all, which are servers, correct? And bank branches where you have the support system, the customer support system and all, which also runs lots of servers, computers and all. And ATM machines where you dispense money and where you deposit money, and which is also another thing. And card networks where we use like tapping the card, POS systems and everything, right? So all these things comes into the picture, right? When we do the energy consumption. I agree.
Sure, but
So
this
when
is
you're
trying to
comparison,
compare. Sorry, you're trying to compare the existing system with established system versus upcoming Bitcoin. It's not used yet. When you compare the same number of transactions or same number of
no. This is comparison not as a whole, for a set amount.
Okay, for a set amount. Okay, thank
you. For a set amount, what is the comparative analysis? Like say, this is the amount and this is the value to be moved.
Okay, yeah.
That is a kind of analysis which was done. I mean, I can share this, okay? So
sure, that's fine, yeah.
And this is like Galaxy Digital, which is like they have done a lot of analysis and they found this.
Sure,
because
thank you.
When you say digital payment, you don't see the one server, the central server. It's not the central server, right? Say you hold your bank money in your bank server, correct? It's not one server, right? Now, the moment you want to move your money to other bank, you need central bank also. That means server bank A, your central bank, and bank B. 3 servers should come into scope, correct?
Yeah.
And when you're doing international transaction, then the SWIFT and also payment networks or payment service providers, correspondent banks, all these things also should come into the scope.
Yeah, there will be multiple servers.
Yeah, so you need to think that there are n number of centralized IT systems. Whereas in blockchain, all the servers are maintaining same ledger and they are all governed by one protocol.
Sure, makes sense now. Yeah, thank you.
Got it? So in that context,
I ask you questions on this.
Yes, please.
The first thing, do we? I mean, maybe do we need the cryptocurrency to do these transactions in the private network?
No, not required. So there are 2 classes of blockchains. One is public blockchain. One is permissioned blockchain. In permissioned blockchain, in public blockchain, because you are asking public to maintain nodes, right? You need to incentivize them because there should be some ROI for them for facilitating the infrastructure and contributing computing power. That's why cryptocurrency is used as an incentive mechanism for them. But if you take permissioned blockchain, it is among a group of stakeholders who maintain their servers and use it for themselves, correct?
Yeah.
So you don't need a cryptocurrency for permissioned blockchains.
What kind of technologies are there to do this kind of smart contracts within the private network?
Hyperledger, header of hash graph.
They don't need to burn anything.
Polygon Edge, Ripple, you have Corda, you have Quorum by JP Morgan, which is used across banks. So there are a number of frameworks, but the major market share in permission blockchain is Hyperledger because it is supported by Linux Foundation. It is open source, and it is supported by all big organizations, be it IBM, Accenture, and other developer communities.
Okay. And one more question with regards to this transaction fees. You said 6.5% for the banking system average, and the cryptocurrency is 1%, right? So the 1% value will be higher compared to the 6.5% of the banking system, right? The value of the, is that how it compared? Like,
amount.
let's say Ethereum
Now say
today,
you have $100. Okay. Now you are transferring $100.
Yeah.
$6.75 is what typically goes off in conversion fee,
yeah,
transaction fee, and everything. Let's assume. Okay.
Yeah.
Now $100 worth of Bitcoin, if you do a transaction,
yeah,
okay, it incur point. Actually, it used to be 0.0, 0.1, 0.3, 0.7 and all. But recently, as the hashing, what is that called as? The hash complexity went up and more nodes are competing with each other. So the mining costs and all made it go little higher. But it is 1% typically now.
But yeah, that in that sense, as in when the values goes up of the currency, the value of this transaction will be
Percentage
higher.
of the Bitcoin, right? See, now value of the Bitcoin went to say $1,000.
Yeah.
But still you are doing $100 transaction means you will be doing only 0.1 BTC, right? And 1% of 0.1 BTC is what you do as a transaction.
Okay.
Now, this is happening because the traditional system is designed such a way that you have SWIFT in between, and SWIFT has pretty much monopoly over all these global cross-border transactions, and they charge both the sender bank and receiver bank.
Okay.
And conversion fee is also something which is there in existing system. But if you take cryptocurrency, now Bitcoin is Bitcoin everywhere in the world, correct?
Yeah.
If you want to convert it into fiat, that's a different story. But if you just want to use it on a continual basis, then there is no conversion fee at all.
Okay.
So that is also one value proposition it facilitates. Then that is why all central banks are now rushing to create CBDC so that they can use the underlying technology and bring operational efficiencies. And Bank of International Settlements, BIS, is pushing all the central banks and have set a target for all central banks that by 2027, all cross-border transactions should come below 1%.
Sure. Can you help me one more
They
thing?
want to do that? You know why they want to do that?
No.
They want to stop the adoption of cryptocurrencies. Mass adoption of cryptocurrencies is what they want to stop.
A question on this central bank's adoption. You mentioned about public and then
Permission.
private permission, private permission, right? Is central banks using the private
Yes, of
permissions?
course. Yes.
Okay, and that means what you told, the ethos of this blockchain is decentralized, and then everyone maintains the ledger. How it works in this
Hyperledger. So
yeah.
Okay, see, when you say CBDC, right? It's not like, see, today's system, if you take, it's distributed. Now central bank maintains main server, right?
Yeah.
Now say, I think Europe has SEPA.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
SEPA, right? Now all the banks are connected to SEPA. Whenever there is a cross-bank transaction, interbank transaction happens, it happens through SEPA, correct?
Yeah.
Right? But if you take a CBDC, it happens like this. Central bank maintains one node, Bank A, Bank B, NFI, like all the service providers will maintain one node in the CBDC network.
Yeah, still
all of them maintain the same ledger, though they maintain the same ledger, right? But who can view what is controlled, because it's a permissioned blockchain.
Central bank, okay.
So central bank only maintains one node, but there are other number of nodes. But the point is, for minting, so say central bank can only mint new money, correct? Right? So minting function is available with only central bank. The smart contract has an endorsing peer, which is only central bank node. Other banks can't mint, so they can't execute smart contracts. So such permissions is what will create that hierarchy in a decentralized network.
So even though it's private, like current network, distributed network, banks are maintaining that their own server, central bank their main server, but there is a possibility of editing on deleting or whatever. There's manipulation,
Then
but you're saying
at the
here,
end of the day, they need to reconcile all this operational overhead, right? The
but here
currency
it's
operations
avoiding
and
it.
all will go off. With CBDC,
it,
it is no need of any currency operations, no need of encashment. All these cycles will go off. The finality and the settlement happen hand in hand.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So that way, blockchain is a decentralized network and a distributed ledger. So in traditional centralized IT systems, you have the ledger maintained by one central authority and user request happens like this. But if you take a distributed ledger, all the nodes are maintaining one copy. But of course, one trade-off at this point of time is compared to centralized IT systems, decentralized IT systems are slow in the sense, for example, if you take Visa, MasterCard, they can give 24,000 transactions per second. Practical. And theoretical can go 40,000 transactions per second. But the best of best blockchain protocols can give up to 3,000 transactions per second to 10,000 transactions per second. But one thing I can tell you is more and more innovation is happening in the consensus mechanism, because how faster all the nodes can verify the block and add to the local copy will decide the speed of the network. Agree? Hello, everyone?
Yeah.
Right. So in that context, if the consensus mechanism is made efficient, will it proportionally increase the speed, the TPS?
Yeah.
So when internet started, I still remember what happened. Buffering.
Yeah.
What is the speeds which we used to enjoy in the early days? 120 kbps, 256 kbps, right? But now?
Yeah, all in
So,
Gbps now.
So whatever understanding of scalability, interoperability, and all things which are usually spoken, think that they are temporary. Okay, that is the present state of blockchain only.
But is the minimum number of approvals required to transfer agree?
Yes, correct. All the nodes should agree, basically, for that transaction to happen. Yes, correct.
So if you got a public network, if 1,001, everyone should agree on that.
Correct.
I heard there is a limit, right? Once you pass through that, they can approve that later, right? Some people can approve it later. If out of the 100, 70 people can approve now, and then 30 people can approve later.
All the nodes in the network should agree to that block. So it depends on the block size. Now, say for example, Bitcoin. In Bitcoin, block size is 4 MB. Okay, 4 MB can typically accommodate some 2,500 transactions. So it is like democracy. Any one of the node will become the leader for a time slot, okay, based on the consensus mechanism, and they will create the block of transactions and will broadcast to everyone. And everyone should agree to that block and add to their local copy.
What happens if one or two are not approved and then it goes
it's
down?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if some of them go down, the consensus will happen only among the nodes which are active.
Active. Okay.
It is consensus between active nodes. And once the nodes which goes down comes back, they will reconcile the blocks which they missed, and then they participate in the next consensus mechanism.
Correct. Okay.
So better availability, better resilience, because now if you want to attack blockchain network, you need to attack 51% of nodes. Unless until you can attack 51% of nodes in the network, you can't hack a blockchain network. Now imagine, that's why Bitcoin, if you take, or Ethereum, like they have 100,000 plus nodes, 30,000 plus nodes. So attacking such huge networks is like very, very resource intensive and very tough. Now you might come across Solana got hacked recently, Binance Smart Chain got hacked. Now, the moment you hear, go to their website and see how many validator nodes are there. Now, if you take Solana, it is 19 nodes, 19. If you take Binance Smart Chain, it is 23 nodes. What did you understand?
Yeah, that's too less.
Smaller the network, it is nearer to centralized IT system, it is vulnerable to attack. Bigger the network, tougher it becomes to hack it.
In the bigger the network, when you got the hash technology improved and then the like ramp up, yeah, when the hacker got sophisticated technology, like China got so many servers and then they got a high-end computer, they can able to hack it easily, right? Even though you got
no. See, okay, I think again we are going further deeper. Now, if you go, okay, to give you a brief answer, for you to attack, okay, you need to be in the network. It's not like you are external to the network.
Yeah, that's easy.
And yeah, you should have 51% of the nodes in the network. So that means it's a huge infrastructure cost for you. And why will I invest 51%? I mean, such huge infrastructure cost, right? Okay. And then put it 51% and do attack. Let's assume that happened. Okay. Because China is very furious on Bitcoin and they did that. Let's assume. Okay. Do you know what happens next? There is a concept called as hard forking. That means all the network will go back to that block at which hack has happened, and they hard fork, and again they start doing the transactions and coming into consensus. What did you understand? Because in a public blockchain, the ledger is made public, so any hack is immediately visible, and all the nodes in the network can hard fork themselves to a different ledger copy, making the false transactions invalid. That is what recently when Binance Smart Chain got hacked, the founder guy, some name, complex names they have. What he did, he asked all the validators to hard fork. But let's imagine that same hack happened in centralized IT system. Will public know it?
No.
Impossible. All the companies, they hide it. Reputation risk, that risk, they will struggle internally, but they never disclose, right?
So in terms of the use case for the private network, what is the use case, and how many minimum servers we need to build this node internally within the companies?
So I think now that we understood the concepts, okay, so let me quickly take you to the use cases. Okay. Yeah, we have another half an hour, I think. Yes, Rajesh? Yeah. Okay. Now
until now, I really enjoyed it, and thank you very much. It's really eye-opening. Thank you.
Yeah. So now, okay, let me show you one of the product I led in supply chain. Okay, supply chain space. And I will answer the questions which were asked. Okay. Now, if you take a supply chain, right? If you take a supply chain, typically, so what is the age-old challenge of supply chain? To have right product at right place at right time, which never happens. That's a different story, but that's the struggle everyone wants to solve. Now, if you take the traditional ERP-enabled supply chain, what happens here typically? Every stakeholder maintains their own server, their own siloed database, and it's all the back and forth coordination, reconciliation, and document intensive processes which happen across the supply chain. And still the end consumer is clueless whether the product which is in his hand is original or not. Because sometimes the duplicate packaging is so beautiful than the original itself. Okay. So that is the kind of sophistication counterfeit companies do, correct? So how many of you got your vaccine? COVID vaccine? Everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How sure are you that your vial is authentic? How sure are you that the right temperatures are maintained from the manufacturer till the clinic?
No. Not
You're
sure.
trusting. You're blindly trusting
Blindly.
the processes, the compliance, the audit. Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So why is that happening? Because today each stakeholder maintains their own copy of ledger. So everyone has their own version of truth. Correct? When there are a number of versions of truth, you are biased to trust the trust which comes or which is shared by them. That's it, based on the brand value, right? That is why we look for brand, correct? Why people
they are making their standards as well, not only brand, they have some frameworks and their qualities, and they maintain, we believe that.
That's what I'm saying. What is brand? Brand is that, right? You trust that they have certain processes, certain audits, certain checks and balances in place, because of which you are willing to pay a little more for them, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So brand as a concept is having all the all these things in place. Otherwise, why will they become a brand?
Exactly.
So in that context, what is happening today is It is size of your organization or size of your brand, which is actually bringing the trust, but not the actual visibility to that. Agree? Maybe there can be a very modest player who is a very good player who is doing his job well, but they don't get that market till they become big. So today size is bringing size of the organization or name of the organization is giving trust. It's not the visibility. But if you look at blockchain, what is happening now? If you take blockchain, we are so today, if you look at all the people who are working in SAP, Oracle and all, you know, the interoperability is one of the key term you are working on, right? What is that process called as? When you create a bridge between org1 and org2, ESI. Sorry, I don't remember that full forms, but data exchange interfaces are created, right? Typically. Now, what is happening in
Is it data migration or data integration you were talking about?
No, data sharing.
Okay.
So say org A, org B sharing their data on a continual basis, but still they will reconcile it and they will assure, I mean, they will approve it. The approval finally happens only through the paperwork which happens and all. That's a different story. But data sharing is what happens like this today. So today data sharing happens, but in blockchain it is shared data. What is the difference? What is the difference?
Shared data which cannot be modified, and shared like the data which can be.
No scope for information asymmetries here because everyone is having same version of truth. It's a distributed ledger. Everyone sees the same thing. Now, can someone has their own version of truth? No. Not possible. Because local edition equal to global edition.
I mean, is it possible the same transaction can be done at a different server at the same time?
No, see, say for example, there is a transaction happening between manufacturer and distributor. Okay. Now, manufacturer node and distributor node will be endorsing nodes for that particular transaction. And all others will maintain the copy of it. That's it for audit trail, maybe. Okay, let me give you an example. There is a serial number, a product was manufactured by a manufacturer. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
There is a serial number assigned to it. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
There is a purchase order raised by distributor because of which that particular product with a serial number went to the distributor. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, who is the owner of this particular serial number now? Distributor, correct? Now, distributor wants to sell that to a wholesaler upon another PO. Okay. Now, when wholesaler wants to, when the smart contract actually triggers that, the smart contract will actually check, the wholesaler will actually check whether the serial number is owned by a distributor or not. Correct?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Now, let's assume who is the owner. Now, transaction has happened. Who is the owner now? Wholesaler. Now, because all the stakeholders has visibility to this, say I scan the QR code, I can actually see 2 transactions happened in past because of which wholesaler is owner now. Now imagine the distributor duplicated the same serial number and try to sell it with other wholesaler. Let's assume mixing, which happens usually in supply chains, right? Counterfeiting and all.
Yeah.
Now in legacy system, can it happen?
Yes, it can.
Yes. Same serial number went to wholesaler 1, same serial number went to wholesaler 2. Who knows it? Only distributor knows that. Others do not know that, correct?
Yeah.
Because all of them are using their individual IT systems and individual ledgers. But this is like ecosystem sync. Now, in that sense, when distributor tries to sell it, the smart contract will actually check the ledger, which is common for all, and will say, hey, you don't own it. How can you sell it? The smart contract will reject that transaction to happen. So blockchain is preventive in nature, whereas traditional systems are diagnostic in nature. Once something goes wrong, you will know it in audit, correct?
Yes.
That is how all our industries are working today. But what blockchain tries to bring is, it will avoid something to happen first in place, because something can happen only when all the stakeholders come into consensus with respect to a common agreed logic, which is codified as smart contract. So audit, compliance, rules, everything is codified. So that is how now the powerful statement with which we will give a very good point is, if you carefully remember, blockchain is not something new, I would say. It's a new pattern which is happening at a different scale. Now, before enterprise ERPs, tell me how enterprises used to work. I'm sure people are there, like before ERP system era, like I see someone coming from 18 years, 20 years of experience. In your early career, before ERP systems or before within your organization, IT applications are not there, each department used to work in silos. Do you remember?
Yeah, in Excel.
And they used to reconcile lot of information asymmetries. And if something goes wrong with one department, that getting identified is used to take hell lot of time. Correct?
Yes.
Agree? And and because of that, now you have internal checks. Again, at every step, you have again checks and balances, which is an operational overhead. Correct? Now, what is the selling point of all SAP, Oracle, and all the ERP service providers?
Centralized.
Single truth.
You have one version of truth within your organization boundaries, which is visible for everyone, every department. Correct? But now businesses have become distributed. Agree? Is there any organization today who is doing everything in-house? No. As businesses are expanding, every organization is outsourcing certain business functions or certain things, and it's a ecosystem play today. Now, for an ecosystem play to happen, you need a different IT architecture. That is blockchain. What ERP did to enterprises, blockchain would do to business ecosystems. How ERP brought trust within the boundary of the organization, blockchain would bring trust cross-organizational across the ecosystem. Hello?
Yes.
Make sense? So tell me, is blockchain something happening? Is the concept of blockchain something new?
No.
Definitely no, for me at least.
Yeah.
It's not new. It is just happening at a different scale. It's a next evolutionary step. That's it. Because today we are more cooperative driven economies, right? Every company is moving from competitive mindset to cooperative mindset, collaborative mindset. That's how we are seeing service-oriented architectures, platform business models, marketplaces. What is that? All these business models enable multiple organizations to come together and make the customer experience better. So if that business model, the foundational business model is changing, then the technology which supports the business also should change. That is how you need to see blockchain positioned. So now tell me, supply chain, manufacturing, electronic medical records, healthcare, pharma supply chain. Now, what European regulator, pharma regulator says, by 2025, I guess, 25 or 23, I think, all the supply chain stakeholders should become interoperable. They should have transaction history, transaction documents, and transaction data. All these three should be available across end to end. So someone coming from pharma sector, you will understand. And serialization was mandated, right?
Yes.
So blockchain is that which brings the ecosystem play to next level.
So how do you codify this, like a smart contracts, things like that, for general public or the companies? They don't know anything about these technologies. Or, I mean, they have all the regulations in the current method. How can they upgrade it to the smart contracts or the things into the blockchain, or the rules or regulations, whatever?
No, I think that is where, right? Basically, the solutioning and understanding the workflows and the touch points between the organizations and what data points. So I think all these are to be really, I mean, that is where blockchain architects come into play, right? So one thing is the legacy systems will still be there. One thing you need to understand, blockchain will not replace centralized IT systems. If someone is thinking in that lens, again, that's a very subjective way of looking. If you look objectively, blockchain will sit on top of all the ERP systems and will become a shared data layer across the organizations. So the legacy systems will still be there, but whatever data has to grow cross-organizational will sit on top, on top with the network. So in that context, blockchain is an additional layer which gets created, and each organization maintains their node to the network and create channels and all. So I think that is probably something for which you need to understand lots of further concepts.
For the integration for server A and server B, organization server A and organization server B.
So they create channels. So there are like how we have WhatsApp groups, right? Similarly, there are channel concepts and all. So again, if I go further, it will be definitely confusing because let me not do that.
Yeah, up till now it's a crystal clear. Definitely, thank you very much.
Yeah. So that's why, I don't want to complicate it by just giving some vague things. But yes, permissioned blockchain gives that hierarchy and certain privacy controls, governance in place by creating channels and all. And there can be some channels where all the stakeholders are there, and there can be some channels where only few stakeholders are there. So based on the business transactions, the blockchain network architecture should be designed.
Got it. Yeah. We are talking about until now about organizations. For the end user, like customers, to adopt this technology.
For a customer, I think it doesn't really make any difference, to be truthful, because blockchain is a back-end revolution. It's not front-end revolution. Even if you look at the tech stack, pretty much same: HTML, CSS, Angular, React, JS, and all. For middleware, typically we use Node.js and all, right? So here also pretty much same. But for public blockchains, you have web3.js, which is a different library for API calls and integration. So front-end do not change.
Yeah, my question is, like currently in India, is a big thing, like everyone paying through the phone pay or Google Pay. End user, every customer is using it nowadays to convert it digital. How can they benefit this blockchain technology to the end user and the easy transactions?
Okay. That.
And
okay.
without understanding this technology, just they want the
now
application.
say for example, say today when I buy a organic apple from a supermarket, I buy it because someone has put a green sticker on it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? Agree?
Yeah.
Are you really sure it is organic?
I don't know. We don't know that. Yeah.
We don't know. So now just imagine that same sticker can have a QR code typically, right? But of course it is to be packaged. So that is where IoT comes into picture. Okay. So that is where the technology convergence happens. Now say for example, packaging, right? Now say the fruit was plucked from an organic form and then went to a truck, through a truck to a food processing unit, and they got packaged, and that packages went into a pallet and got distributed and it reached the retailer. Now, at every level, if the human intervention is minimized and there is IoT which captures the data into the system, and blockchain which puts every transfer of ownership onto it to assure the integrity, and some UI which shows the provenance data, can obviously enhance the verifiability that yes, whatever I'm buying is actually what I'm buying.
Everyone has to adopt this technology. That's what you're trying to say. Yeah?
See, I think anything starts with over a period of time, right? Now,
Yes.
if you take B2B, typically B2B things got started, right? Slowly it goes. So supply chain, for example, now it starts one tier, manufacturers, suppliers, and distributors. Okay. And then wholesalers, then retailers. So all the tiers will add on over a period of time. But that how quickly that happens depends on two things. One, either regulator should drive the consortium and enforce it, or the customer should demand it, or competitors doing it, which will automatically put pressure on peers. So I think these are 2 to 3 things which will actually decide how quickly the adoption will happen in an ecosystem.
Okay, as a service provider, if I go to the each section, each point, okay, if you do this, you'll gain a customer trust, things like that, and how much money
And
they need
also
to invest.
operational efficiency, right? You are also improving operational efficiency. You can actually eliminate all the paperwork, cross-organizational paperwork.
Okay, yeah.
Lots of benefits. See, indeed, you can bring end-to-end visibility, collaborative order management, automatic reconciliation of documents and data for audit. Audit costs will go significantly down with blockchain.
Sure.
Because both the parties have same version of truth. So what is there to like cross-verify?
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Yeah.
Right, and compliance is baked into smart contracts. So there is nothing which can go out of compliance, first of all. And by publishing the smart contracts for audit, you can actually bring that brand positioning also well. Easy recalls, auto replenishment, these are also can be automated through smart contracts. Like say, once number of units of in my inventory goes certain level low, I have already a smart contract and both the servers, both the nodes will sign it, and then an order gets placed automatically. No human intervention required. So there are certain things where blockchain can add further value addition. And
yes, definitely.
Dynamic capacity planning. Right, today supply chain shocks is one big problem. So yeah,
definitely. Thank you very much.
okay, so I mean, yeah, again, this is just a starting point as I see, but one thing I want to highlight is definitely blockchain is going to change the way, and it reflects in pretty much every report. And one big thing which I can quote by PwC is 10% of world's GDP will be managed on blockchain by 2030. That is something big which I can say. 2030, 10% of world's GDP will be managed by blockchain. And by 2025, the mass adoption of blockchain is going to happen. Okay.
One question: number of transactions. How you currently you said 3,000, and the counterpart current existing technology they're doing 24,000 to 40,000 theoretically. How long it takes to catch up? Blockchain can catch up that money transaction.
So I think there is one network which is Algorand, which is theoretically proved 10,000 transactions per second. Okay. And there is one more new innovation which is happening in blockchain called as sharding. Now in sharding, as you add one more node, the TPS increases, which is counterintuitive. You add one more node, actually TPS should go down, right? But in sharding mechanism, as you add more nodes, the speed will increase. So there are different ways, and layer 2 solutions or lightning networks. Now you have layer 1 blockchain network, and on top of it, layer 2. So some people are stacking multiple layers so that they can bring down the cost as well as the time taken for confirmation. So side chains, this is called as side chains, layer 2s, lightning network, sharding. So n number of and new consensus mechanism. So whatever ways a blockchain speed can be optimized, they are working. Research is going, and a lot of developments are happening in that lines. So whatever we saw in market so far is just tip of the iceberg, I would say. Okay, a lot of things is yet to happen, and I'm very confident as more and more people aware of this possibility, what I introduced you, there will be mass efforts which will happen in the innovation departments of all the companies to start doing some POCs, pilots and all. Say today, virtually every industry, I'm working with energy sector, I'm working with central banks, I'm working with edu space, HR verification as a service, healthcare, telecom, GRC. So there is definitely a sudden spike which we saw last quarter in terms of doing blockchain pilots and taking things to production in coming years.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, all the best. Thank you very much for everything. How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Rajesh is there, right? So we are
Okay, sure.
anyways there. And
So-
anyways, like someone who wants to really start like getting deeper and all, actually me and Rajesh, like we are also planning something in European region. We have one partner in Germany, but also we want to do certain blockchain for business leaders or functional leaders kind of program where you get to actually evaluate how to pick up a use case within your scope of work or within your scope of experience, and what are the steps to kickstart blockchain transformation, and how do you put the value proposition, the value framework for a given use case, and how do you pick up a right blockchain tech stack for a given use case. So for functional leaders, we are coming up with one thing, and for technical people, we are coming up with one more thing. So predominantly our next quarter or that next quarter plan is to upskill as many people, business leaders and executives as possible, so that they can start seeing blockchain the way it is rather than the way it was said by someone else.
Do you guys run any course or anything on this? Or?
Yes, that is a plan. Yes. A weekend executive program, typically a 2-day or a 3-day thing is what something we are looking at. And maybe another approach we are seeing is the consulting, where, okay, now that you understood blockchain has certain value proposition, we can actually start identifying do some assets analysis and figure out what are the use cases relevant to your business, and start doing that. So anything, it can go formally through upskilling, or it can go directly through you. Yeah.
Can you just give an overview? What are the kind of roles will be there in these things, functionally or technically? Sure.
You mean for blockchain? So
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much the similar roles of any other technologies, right? Like blockchain solution architect, blockchain full stack developers, blockchain smart contract developers, right? And blockchain project. Yeah. Functional side, I think the business analysts and the solution architects typically. These are two roles predominantly. Yeah, everyone is positioned. Like the business analysts are typically, I mean, understanding the pain points and trying to map it to the capabilities of blockchain and trying to pitch them blockchain solution. And solution architecting is more like a little deeper work in terms of actually analyzing the ASIS processes and trying to define what smart contracts should be baked in, and how the architecture of that blockchain network should be and all. So, yeah.
Rajesh raised a hand.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah. Hi, Arvind.
Yeah.
It's really very good session. But I have a very stupid question related to the hard forking. Just I'm trying to understand like how it works.
Sorry?
Okay.
What is that?
I have a small scenario where I know it is a stupid question.
No, it's okay. It's okay. See, there is nothing like.
I'm trying to understand how the hard forking works.
Hard fork.
Okay. I'll try to share you a scenario. Just trying to understand in that scenario how does it works. Assume that RBI comes up with its own network or its own framework. Okay. All the private banks in India, they're having their own nodes. So what I understand from the session is that the only active nodes will define, they'll approve the transaction.
No, endorsing piece. Okay, see, I think you mix it two things. Public blockchains typically do hard forking, not permission blockchains.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Then
So yeah, so
about in
one thing you need to understand is, say, RBI and then certain stakeholders and all, right? So only in that scenario, the endorsing peers will be endorsing it. Till the transactions are not endorsed by all the endorsing peers, the transaction will be in waiting phase only. Okay, it will not be confirmed. Now in a public blockchain, when I say active nodes, it means all the nodes which are running, which are active at that point of time. Because sometimes by mistake, if some of the nodes go down, by the time they come up, they will not be able to sync the blocks, right? So
Yeah.
it is only in that context I told. But when you say hard fork, right?
Yeah.
See, hard fork is nothing but it can happen in two scenarios. One, there is a major protocol update which happened and part of the network doesn't want to go to new update. Rather, they want to stay with the existing protocol only. Then the network will split into two parts. The network which is staying with the existing protocol will still continue with the blocks, same blocks, all the transactions, same cryptocurrency. Whereas the new blockchain which gets created will start from block 0, that is Genesis block. And that will have a different coin and that will have a different protocol, its own tokenomics and everything. Okay. Then another type of hard fork is you have a ledger happening, but then there is a point at which 51% attack happened or distributed denial of service, DDoS attack happened. Then whatever blocks which were created from that time, okay, are not considered. I mean, all the nodes will start pointing the new blocks to the point of hack. So they won't consider the next blocks as part of the chain.
Got it.
Because every time a block of transactions come, this block and previous block will have a hash pointer. It's a pointer, basically, index. Now the indexing will be shifted, and that is also called as hard fork.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Hope I was able to give the answer brief, but it's a very complicated and deeper concept, which can be discussed maybe in coming sessions. But the provision is still there.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Arvind. Thanks for sharing. And really very good session and very much interested as well.
Yes, really different topic and it's really, we've done a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Arvind. It is a really great session, actually, very interactive.
Yeah, all thanks goes to Rajesh because he's the one who pointed me to this forum. But it's my pleasure indeed to share this because what I strongly believe is blockchain as a technology when applied right. See, every technology has both pros and cons. Okay, if we start focusing too much on cons and stopping it or banning it or not touching it is a very bad idea. To be truthful, how can we make more and more people aware of the positive possibilities which blockchain can create is something my mission always when I do my trainings or talks or panel discussions and everything. So that's why when Rajesh said, hey, like I have a pool of forum and friends who want to really understand this technology, I immediately said yes. I think this was planned on Friday, I remember.
Yeah, really
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Arvind.
Rajesh.
Yes, it was planned a week back anyway. So,
Rajesh,
but
we need more
actively,
sessions like this.
Thank you, Arvind.
sure, not it's ready. So as Arvind rightly mentioned, if someone really want to explore further and want to be expertise in the blockchain, we do have sessions coming up, and obviously we have free talks and as well as in-depth knowledge sessions or like the courses of 2 days that we are planning. Just in case if you are curious, please connect with me and we will work out on something based on your expectations. And obviously, we are open to the consulting opportunities in UK. And in case if you are in the decision making or like influencing stage, where you can start adopting the blockchain or transforming your organizations into from legacy or like integrating with the legacy plus blockchain, please do connect with me, and definitely we can work out on something. And obviously we have technology in place, and we have right resource pool in place, and we got expertise in place. And I strongly believe that Aravind can drive any sort of big programs. I mean, volume doesn't matter for us. You just come back to us and we can arrange with the right solutions.
Yeah. So I think the largest consortium, at least in the permissioned blockchain, the largest consortium which we led is Bharat Blockchain Network, which is with academia. We created a 30 node network coming from academia, and that is soon getting 100. So 100 validator nodes, which is built on Hyperledger Besu. Okay. And second network which we worked in energy sector is around 23 big powerhouses, power production companies in India, and 17 state governments. So it is like a 20 consortium network. Okay. And of course, coming to ideas, which I lead under my leadership, ideas blockchain practice really took strides. And we are one of the only 17 Hyperledger certified service providers and implementation partners for Hedera Hashgraph, system integrator and implementation partners for Polygon, which is a layer 2 public blockchain. So I think, see, with an open mind, wherever you see there are certain challenges and pain points which your organization might address, there we can further explore. Okay. And I know definitely enterprise applications and enterprise adoption of blockchain will take some time. But if you understand it right, we will have that persistence and persuasion within us that yes, we need to strive it and we need to strive for it. So that is what we shall aim first, right? Rather than jump starting the projects. That is an open mindset with which me and Rajesh are in this forum, and we'll greatly expand this forum in coming days. So we have big plans in Europe.
Right.
So I'm confident we can do many more things together.
And don't worry, if you need any help in initiating the discussions and accelerating discussions in your organization, you can always connect with us. It need not to be finalized decision where we have to be implementation partners. We can even help you out in presenting in a right way and analyzing whether blockchain is really required or not. Of course, there is a beautiful framework to identify evaluation framework that I learned in Arvind's session in the past. So we can always use those things, and definitely if it is going to be value add only, we can propose. Otherwise, yeah, legacy systems can still.
There are many scenarios where I desell blockchain. Okay. There was some client who said, who came to me and said, no, we want to use blockchain. Then I asked, okay, what is your process? What exactly, or why you want to use it? No, everyone in the ecosystem is using that and all. Okay. Then I said, for their positioning in the market and the kind of stakeholder interactions they have, they don't need blockchain at all. So then I like clearly told them, I mean, the kind of investment you put in the server infrastructure you set up will not make sense. So I think sometimes knowing what not to do and when not to use blockchain is also very important, which is also shared in the program typically. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Arvind. Can I ask everyone to come on camera so that like we can take a nice snap with thumbs up?
No, I'm a fan of Coca-Cola.
Unfortunately, I am fan of thumbs up.
Okay.
And Mauli, yeah. Vikant is here, Mauli, Srini. Of course, anyway, thumbs up is Coca-Cola company, so we are in alliance. Oh yeah, I think this is fine. Is that good? Yeah. Anything that you like. Okay, thumbs up. We go with this. All right, and then Srini, and Shiva, we are waiting for you, just in case if you are. There you go. It's a nice screenshot. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time on weekend. And I'm sure it must be super useful to you, and it's an interesting and informative session. And Arvind, my special thanks, and I really appreciate, even though I informed you in the last minute, you turned up, and of course, you always say yes if you given the bandwidth. I really love that, and obviously, I want to hear more from the audience as a final notes. Anyway, I always appreciate Arvind, so it might not be great or new to him. Yeah, please go ahead. Open to the forum.
Yeah.
Yeah, final notes from the forum.
I mean, thanks a lot, Rajesh, for initiating this. It's really good. I got a really good picture on blockchain. Thanks a lot for this one. I'll be connecting with you both, guys. I mean, I have a lot of things in my mind. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for demystifying my doubts, Arvind. I know a little bit now. I know more than that now. Yeah, thank you very much for demystifying. I got a few questions, and then, as I said, some cons. But yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Thank you, Arvind. Actually, it's a really great session. I made myself actually improved on my blockchain knowledge. So it's really good. Thank you.
Thanks, Arvind. So this is my first session in the blockchain. I understand like how the blockchain work, and also like from the network perspective, I have seen like a centralized network and decentralized. So till now we are doing the architecture diagrams, but now I know the real difference, like what makes the difference of the centralized and decentralized one. So we try to learn more on this for the coming session. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Prasad.
thank you,
Shiva.
Rajesh. Yeah. Yeah, your session is very informative and detailed. Even a layman can understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauli.
Thanks, Arvind. It was a very good discussion.
Thank you, Arvind.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, then. So have a great weekend ahead, and let's catch up in the coming meetings.
Yeah, thank you, Arvind, and please do
all.
connect, and let's have great fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.